यो राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनावल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दना व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनतीरा वनचारि यमुना तीरा वनचारि जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा गोपी जना वल्लभा राधा गोपी जना वल्लभा जयो निताय पतिता पावन गौर हरि जयो निताय पतिता पावन गौर हरि प्रभुपाद 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 जयो जय प्रभुपाद जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरस्थ हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरस्थ श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीवा गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ छठ गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा गोपी जन वल्लभा गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय श्री एकाचक्र धाम की जय गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की जय भक्त देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories to assemble devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Shila Prabhupada ki jai. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान् वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 26, the first verse. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Atha te sampravakshami tattvanam lakshanam prithak yad viditva vimuchyeta purusha prakriter gunai. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Atha te sampravakshami tattvanam lakshanam prithak yad viditva vimuchyeta purusha prakriter guna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Athate Sampravakshami Tattvanam Lakshanam Pritha Yad Viditva Vimuchyeta Purusha Prakrite Guna. Synonyms. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Atha, now, te, to you, Sampravakshami, I shall describe, Tattvanam, of the categories of the Absolute Truth, Lakshanam, the distinctive features, Prithak, one by one, Yat, which, Viditva, knowing, Vimuchyeta, one can be released, Purusha, any person, Prakrite, of the material nature, Gunai, from the modes. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead, Kapila continued, My dear mother, now I shall describe unto you the different categories of the Absolute Truth, knowing which any person can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, only through devotional service. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. As stated in the Bhagavatam, the object of devotional service is Mam, Krishna. And as explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, to understand Krishna means to understand Krishna in his personal form with his internal energy, his external energy, his expansions, and his incarnations. There are many diverse departments of knowledge in understanding Krishna. Sankhya philosophy is especially meant for persons who are conditioned by this material world. It is generally understood by the Parampara system or by disciplic succession to be the science of devotional service. It is generally understood by the Parampara system or by disciplic succession to be the signs of devotional service. Preliminary studies of devotional service have already been explained. Now the analytical study of devotional service will be explained by the Lord, who says that by such an analytical study, one becomes freed from the modes of material nature. The same assertion is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Tato Mam Tattvato Gyatva. By understanding the Lord according to various categories, one can become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. This is also explained here. By understanding the science of devotional service in Sankhya philosophy, one can become free from the modes of material nature. Again, by understanding the science of devotional service in Sankhya philosophy, one can become free from the modes of material nature. The eternal self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. As long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy or lord it over material nature, there is no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes. Therefore, one has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead analytically, as explained in the Sankhya system of philosophy by Lord Kapila Dev. Once again, translation. The personality of Godhead, Kapila continued, My dear mother, now I shall describe unto you the different categories of the Absolute Truth, knowing which any persons can be released from the influence of the modes of material nature. So there is a path of bhakti and there is path of Sankhya. Both path will help us to become free from the material entanglement, free from the modes of material nature. Srila Prabhupada says the living entity is accustomed to lord it over the modes of material nature, and the more one tries to lord over the modes of material nature, one becomes further entangled by the modes. Or in other words, the more we try to enjoy this material world, the more we become entangled by this material world and prolong our escape from this material existence. Now, in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, an intelligent person, he sees equality in the path of devotion and the Sankhya philosophy. 5th chapter begins with Arjuna asking question to Lord Krishna, should I renounce? Which basically refers to the path of Sankhya, the path of Jnana. Should I renounce or should I work in devotion, which refers to bhakti? And the answer Lord Krishna gives is both are good for liberation, but among the two, the path of bhakti is is recommended, is higher. So there is, like Prabhupada describes in Bhagavad Gita, there is also an atheistic Sankhya, which is propagated by an impostor Kapila. But the Lord Kapila, who is Swayam Bhagavan, he gave the principle of theistic Sankhya. Prabhupada says, analytically understanding the devotional service. One aspect is bhakti, which is the 9, like hearing about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, chanting Krishna's name. This is pure bhakti. And then another aspect is the science of bhakti. Prabhupada says in the purport, the analytical study represents the science of bhakti. Many books are written, on the process of bhakti, analyzing the process of bhakti. Like there are 9 stages in bhakti, what happens in each stages. So there are a lot of description. They are all the theistic science of bhakti, and they are equally important to know. Then we also see what does the theistic what is the benefit of theistic Sankhya? Sankhya means analytical study. The benefit is renunciation. It will bring renunciation. Bhagavad Gita itself is divided into three parts. There is all mixed yogas, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. In the first six chapter, pure bhakti yoga, man mana bhavan bhakto madhyajima, always think of me, become my devotee. Always remember me, pay your obeisances on to me. Whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever you do, do it as an offering to me. This is the section of Bhakti Yoga, or Krishna glorifying his own, Krishna mentioning his own opulences, he's showing his own universal form, how everything emanates from him. This is Bhakti Yoga, glorifying Krishna. Krishna centered in the last six chapter is actually Sankhya, is actually Jnana Yoga. But Gyan that brings renunciation and that is connected to Bhakti. And whatever Kapila Muni speaks is going to be Gyan, which directly connects to Bhakti. Now, whatever we have read in the last six chapter of Bhagavad Gita is what is going to be explained by Kapila Muni in this chapter and the next chapter. It's about the Sankhya aspect of Bhakti, the science of devotional service. So what does it contain? It contains the 24 elements. If we see Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, this Krishna just mentions in brief that there are these many elements, and Prabhupada describes in the purport what are those 24 elements. Then the 13th chapter speaks about the super soul. Then the Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about the Mahatattva. All and how one aspect of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya basically means analyzing this material world from the perspective of how it is temporary and how the living entity is conditioned and how the living entity should escape and go to Krishna. So that's why it's called the science of bhakti. Then even this chapter also discusses about ahankar, how the false ego comes from Mahatattva, how the Mahatattva is in between matter and spirit, how it emanates from the Lord, how ahankar further is divided into three modes. Ahankar in mode of goodness brings about mind. Ahankar in mode of passion brings intelligence. And also the senses, the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses. Ahankar in mode of ignorance is the dull matter, the dead matter, the object of the senses. So in that way, various analysis on the three modes, the elements, the Mahatattva, the Ahankar, the super soul, detailed. Whatever this last six chapter covers, that is analytical study. And anybody who seriously try to study them will have a clear vision. That's what Prabhupada would say. This path of Krishna consciousness is very scientific, referring to this section. Knowing about the three modes, the importance of mode of goodness, importance of mode of transcendence, how to come to mode of transcendence. And then when we start seeing things with respect to three modes, then that is very helpful to the path of bhakti. That will give us a right vision. Okay, so this is something. And then one more thing that is mentioned, Prabhupada says here about material desire. That and the self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. So Lord Kapila Muni says to his mother, now I will describe the Sankhya aspect, the analytical aspect. This will bring detachment from material world. And then Prabhupada says, becoming freed from the spell of the material nature, one becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. And then this is a very difficult statement. As long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy or lord it over material nature, there is no chance of his being freed from the influence of the nature's material modes. Once again, I will read this. We'll focus on just 10 minutes on this line, and that's the end of the discussion. As long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy or lord it over material nature, there is no chance of his being freed from the influence of nature's material modes. Prabhupada says, as long as we have a desire to enjoy, little bit desire to enjoy, immediately Maya captures us. There is a verse also which says, Krishna bhuliya sajiva bhogvancha kare nikatastha maya khare jhapati adhare. That as soon as one forgets Krishna and jiva bhogvancha kare, when the living entity desires to enjoy, nikatastha, very close, is standing the Maya Devi, and she immediately puts the living entity on her lap. Pisha chira khole. Um, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, and she drinks our blood. She's a witch. So, how do we overcome this desire for enjoyment? I'm full of this desire to enjoy. So yesterday I came to know this verse and I was sharing, Prabhu, I'm not qualified to speak on this verse. This is too high subject matter. But for the sake of continuity of Bhagavatam discussion, um, what can we do to become from um, free from um, even the slightest amount of material desire? And the answer is service. It is said when we start rendering devotional service, selfless devotional service to Lord Krishna, then that attraction to serve the Lord, when it becomes stronger and stronger, to serve the Lord, to serve the Lord, to serve the Lord. What can I do for Krishna? To the extent that desire grows, simultaneously the desire to enjoy will reduce. And when we are completely absorbed in the desire to serve the Lord, to serve the Lord, to serve the Lord, this desire will go away. There are many examples in the scriptures where the devotee is desiring only devotional service, and a devotee doesn't want anything. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave us the most practical way for those living entities like myself who are completely entangled in this material world and who have come to this material world only to enjoy. How, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, gradually they can loosen their grips from the material world just by rendering selfless service to Lord Krishna, because the nature of the service is, as one renders service to Lord Krishna, that desire will go away. But one has to seriously render devotional service selflessly, because Maya is very powerful. Maya will enter through various desires within our service also. Within our service also. So a very simple example, very well-known example is Maharaj Dhruva, who began his journey with a desire to enjoy, but the path of devotional service, selfless devotional service, when the Lord appeared to him and Lord wanted to fulfill his material desire, Dhruv Maharaj said, "My Lord, I have found you, now I don't want anything." Now, one of the scriptures says, I was looking for broken pieces of glasses. Now I have found a diamond. I don't want it. So this is the only way we can overcome when the slight amount of material desire is by rendering service to Krishna, rendering service to devotees. When our happiness comes from rendering service, and our desire becomes just to render service, then we become free from this desire to enjoy. And then we'll become free from the entanglement of the material modes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Siksha Ashtakam, he says, the fourth was Shashtakam, Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamai. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavata bhakti rahaitu ki tvai. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire is Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavata Bhaktir Aitu Kitvai. When that desire becomes prominent, then desire for Dhanam Janam Sundaram will reduce. Very good example is from Chaitanya Charitamrita of Kolavicha Sridhar. We were discussing this example today in the morning. Kolavicha Sridhar, he was a banana leaf seller. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to him and he would bargain for banana leaves, and Kolavicha would give him the price. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "No, you are charging too much. You should give me for one-fourth of a price." Kolavicha said, "My lord, what are you talking? There is, I am a very poor man. Whatever money I have, I use 50% of it to worship the Ganges, and remaining 50% I maintain myself. And I live in a straw hut which has so many holes. When it rains, my clothes have so many holes. I am in a bare maintenance. If I give you for one-fourth of a price, how will I sustain?" He would not say, "My lord." He would say, I don't know what name he would call, Nimai Pandit. And Mahaprabhu would say, "No, no, you are charging too much." Then Kolavicha Sridhar would say, "Well, if I am charging too much, then go to the place where it's cheap. Buy from there." And Mahaprabhu says, "No, I'll buy from you only, and I'll buy for cheaper price only." And let us see, then Kolavicha would say, "My lord, what are you saying?" And finally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say, "I'm a Brahmana, and you are supposed to give charity to Brahmanas." He would take all the banana leaves and he would run away. And Kolavich, and this would happen for a few hours every day. And next day again, Mahaprabhu would come and take all the banana leaves for free and go away. And in this way, Kolavicha Sridhar would derive great joy. He would long for Lord to come, and he would derive great joy in just Mahaprabhu. Kolavicha Sridhar wanted to give everything to Lord Chaitanya, but Kolavicha Sridhar would still argue, because um, he would derive a lot of joy by interacting with the Lord. Um, um, so later on, during the Mahaprakash Leela, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called, he told Nitai, and he told Advaita, go and find Kolavicha. They were like, "Who is Kolavicha?" They never even heard about it. This also shows that those who are actually pure devotees, the love is within their heart, and nobody knows them. There are so many devotees who have so much advancement within their heart, but we cannot see, we don't know, because the nature of a devotee who has something is that he becomes humble, and the nature of a devotee who lacks much, he will try to show himself off. My spiritual master gives an example of a tree loaded with fruits automatically bend down, and the tree which has no fruits like stands like in front of like like I am the one existing here. So Kolavicha Sridhar nobody knew, because he was so full of affection and love for Lord that he had no need. His satisfaction would come by serving the Lord. Whole night he would chant the names of the Lord. Then they went, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them, "You go, and in the night you see somebody whole night chanting the names of the Lord. That is Kolavicha, bring him here." And Kolavicha was a very humble soul. These associates of the Lord, they went, they searched for Kolavicha, they brought Kolavicha. Kolavicha they told him that Nimai Pandit, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling you, and when he heard, he fainted. So they picked him up and they brought him. Then, by the mercy and the glance of Mahaprabhu, he came back to consciousness. Mahaprabhu wanted to reciprocate with Kola Vicha Sridhar. Mahaprabhu asked Kola Vicha, I will give you, you are, I mean, Kola Vicha was very, very poor. So Mahaprabhu says, I will make you the king of this planet. Kola Vicha said, my lord, this is simply a disturbance to my consciousness becoming a king. So much responsibility. What is the use? I'm so happy chanting your holy names. I'm so happy serving you. I don't want all this trouble to become the king of this planet. It's like complete distraction for me. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, all right, um, I will make you the king of the heavenly planets. So he again said the same argument, my lord, that is also simply a disturbance. Okay, I'll make you Brahma. Then, my lord, please, I don't want these things. I don't want anything. In his mind, he just wanted to remember the Lord because he just wanted to be absorbed in the Lord. So he said, my lord, I don't want all these responsibilities, simply a distraction and disturbance to my consciousness. Then the Lord said, okay, then I will give you Vaikuntha Loka. Then Kolavacha said, my lord, what will I do going to Vaikuntha? I don't want Vaikuntha Loka. Then Mahaprabhu said, okay, I will send you to Goloka Vrindavan. I will make you one of the associate of Lord Krishna. And um, even that desire was not the Kolavachashida. Kolavachashida said, my lord, I don't even want that. I have no desire. Then Mahaprabhu became very anxious. Mahaprabhu wanted to do something for Kolavecha. Mahaprabhu said, Kolavecha, I really want to give you something, ask for something. Then after repeated requests, Kolavecha Shira said, my lord, if at all you want to give me anything, then in the form of that Nimai, birth after birth, come and steal my banana leaves and go away and interact with me. And that's what I want. So this is this is something that will naturally happen to us when we start deriving joy in rendering selfless devotional service. Selfless devotional service, there is in that kind of devotional service the mentality of what will I get. I will do the service if I if if like if I am the center, if I have something material to gain out of it. When there is some consciousness of me being the center, then I'm enthusiastic to serve. When I'm not in the center, then what is the point? What is the point of hearing Bhagavatam? If I have to give Bhagavatam, then it's a point. If I have to simply sit and hear, then okay, just leave it. Then what? I have to help in cooking. Well, there is no excitement there. Oh, I'm leading cooking, then I will do it. Then everything will come back to me only. So um, when thus I mean many times it is very subtle, I'm sorry to mention, but many times the service is our inspiration comes not from the act of serving Krishna, not from the act of hearing Bhagavatam, not from the act of serving devotees, but there are external motives there which our external motive motivates us. Our enthusiasm, our excitement in the surface, if it is coming from I am being in the center, then the service is materially motivated. And when the service is materially motivated, it will be an interrupted service, and that kind of service cannot satisfy the self. Ahituki apratihata ye atma suprasidati. When the devotional service is unmotivated and uninterrupted, then that devotional service can completely satisfy the self. Another example, you are discussing, somehow the topics are very similar in the morning and now. Another example you are discussing is of Hanuman, who Prabhu was mentioning, who um, was only eager to serve, or jari booty is needed. Susena said, we need this Sanjeevani. It is found in the mountain. Hanuman is like so eager, and he would jump and he would get and bring. Oh, we have to build the bridge. And Hanuman would go when he saw that all the stones were over and there is a need for more stones to make the bridge. Hanuman would go find another mountain and bring. It is said that Hanuman also, one point of time, was about to bring Govardhan. Govardhan was very excited to serve Lord Ram, but then Hanuman heard that the bridge is already complete. So the Govardhan became very sad. Then, um, um, uh, then Govardhan, I think somehow Govardhan came to know that Lord Krishna will come and serve, and you will be engaged in serving Lord Krishna directly. Then Govardhan was like, okay, then I can stay here. So when Sita was supposed to be found, Hanuman was so eager. He faced so many obstacles for Lord Ram, came and saw and said, Dishtva Sita, Mother Sita was seen. And Lord Ram said, I have nothing to give you for the service that you have done. And all he gave is embrace, and Hanuman was overwhelmed by that embrace of Lord Ram. So we see, just if the joy is coming from the act of service, to the extent that is becoming prominent, to that extent the material desire will diminish. And it is something that we want to like imbibe in our consciousness. And most important is selfless service, just the act of service, keeping ourselves busy with service. And when we lack service, then praying to Krishna, Krishna, please give me more service. Srila Prabhupada gave an example of Uttamadhikari. Prabhupada says Uttamadhikari is one who is always anxious who's always thinking how to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Whether it is how can I serve more? How can I improve my service? These are all the symptoms of enthusiasm. When our mind is absorbed and eager to serve, and when we are facing many challenges in our services, and we are desperate to serve and we are eager to serve, then those challenges, those difficulties are actually very pleasing to Krishna. Yesterday there was a small group call, and there is one girl, she was sharing, it was with Kalakanta Prabhu, who is looking after many Krishna houses. And this girl was, she's like taking care of a woman ashram. But at this point of time, there was no woman in the ashram and she's alone. And she was she was telling to everybody in the call. I was also there, and she was telling, she actually had tears in her eyes. And she was telling, I'm a lonely girl here. The whole ashram is empty. I'm waiting for some opportunity to do some service. I'm waiting if some new people can come and I can get a chance. She would go out, she would distribute books. Nobody is eager to take Krishna consciousness, nobody eager to reciprocate, nobody is eager to come to temple. She has been trying for a few months now, alone, staying and just looking for some service. And she was little depressed actually. Then Kalakanta Prabhu was sharing that you are, by this consciousness, you are making a lot of progress. You don't even realize. He was telling her, you don't even realize how much progress you are making. Probably you are making a lot more progress than others who are very successful, and they are thinking, now see, now so much is happening because of me. um, I'm doing such a nice service, rather than, and there is that kind of feeling of pride and so many things that come, and you are, because of the the situation you are in. She was in a mood of helplessly praying to Krishna, Krishna, please give me an opportunity to service. And Kalaram Prabhu was mentioning, um, So when Krishna wants to show his mercy, that you make advancement, then Krishna sometimes puts the devotees in this situation just so that devotees can call out to Krishna. So uh, if our if we are thinking about how to serve more, how to improve my service, and if we are anxious, if we are praying, if we are desiring, how can I spread this mission? And if the focus is not myself, if the focus is just I want to be constantly absorbed, constantly engaged, that is the way we will think less about ourselves. We will think about less about my enjoyment, my needs. Will become when we think about others, we will think less about ourselves. When we are not thinking about others, then I has to be the center. When we are thinking about Krishna and serving Krishna, that's the only way this line can be applied, and that the desire to enjoy will be transferred to desire to serve. Okay. And that's what I want to say. If there are any discussion, we can take at this point of time.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. I like how you elaborated on that one line, and then actually you covered my question there itself. How do we actually um, be desire free, or I wouldn't say desire free, but have every desire just culminating around serving Krishna? There you talked about unmotivated service. So, Prabhu, that itself is a big challenge. The concept is there, the clarity is there, that everything is being done by the Lord. I'm just an instrument. However, somehow the mind brings that idea, look at me. I'll give you an example. um Dressing the deities, you come out, oh, all of a sudden deities look great. The other last week which I did, it wouldn't be great. So you clearly understand it's not you, but at the same time, when I just do that, that desire comes in. Not desire, that just thought comes in and just feels so disgusted, but that the thought already came. How do I handle that situation?
Asking a wrong person, bro. You should ask a qualified person. I definitely cannot answer that question. I'm struggling with the same aham ten mamanta, bro. Like I, I. But from what I've heard, Prabhuji, it's just will go away with our own spiritual advancement. All that is in our hand is consistency in service. This our own services will bring lot of misery, and our own misery will give lot of realization, lot of problems, lot of realization. These realization will help us go beyond being the center. Whenever we have the desire to be in the center, we will be frustrated. Today, if wherever I am the center, sometime Krishna will encourage us. Another time we'll be depressed and we will never be equanimous, because we can be equanimous only when it is selfless. Whenever I am the center, depression, frustration is a constant companion of a living entity who is trying to be the enjoyer. And Krishna himself says, as soon as one tries to become the enjoyer, immediately he comes into the control of the Dukhalya Shashvatam. Immediately he will be captured. And depression or frustration will be the constant companion. And going this through some time, and then some more time, and then some more time, and then some more time. Those, this desire to be the center will be frustrated, again frustrated. One time I was asking Syamanand Prabhu, that Prabhu, I cannot even ask the question. I cannot say the question, but uh, it was like a similar question to him, that Prabhu, I want to be the center, and when somebody else becomes the center, then it pains me and brings envy in my heart. how do I overcome? And it's very painful when somebody else become the center. And then he said, well, it will keep happening. Krishna will keep frustrating you. Till the time you give up that desire, Krishna will keep frustrating you. And that is Krishna's mercy. So our success will lie in the consistency of our service, and lot of difficulties will come that will give realization, purification. Our purification is, one is we give up that desire, because that we will see that how that desire is such a disgusting thing. We'll give up that desire. First we will desire to give up that desire, then by the process of devotional service, Krishna will take away that desire. We won't even know, just the practice itself is gradually purifying, gradually, whatever desire we had, because the thing is, we are deeply entangled, Prabhuji. How deeply entangled? Like deeply entangled. So when we began devotional service and today, certainly the desire has become weakened. It has not gone, but it is much, like relatively much lesser. It's not that strong today. And Dhruv Maharaj also was not focusing on um, the the difficulties he has, like the desire to have that kingdom, the desire to take revenge from his stepmother. Dhruv Maharaj was not focusing on. He was focusing on serving Krishna, focusing on serving Krishna. Hear about Krishna, glorify Krishna, serve Krishna, spread the mission of Krishna, keep running for Krishna, 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 and this fringe will go away. But in the meantime, wherever in being, in our journey, wherever I becomes the center, Krishna will take a stick and and then this will be our journey. And we give up the desire, and Krishna sees, okay, I don't have any desire. Krishna further purifies, because Krishna also says, Yathamam prapadyante. So you want it, I will give it to you. But once in a while, I'll not give it to you. I'll frustrate you till you give it up. And when you pray to Krishna, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Krishna will remove it, remove it, remove it, remove it. Gradually will come out. Is it okay, Prabhuji?
Amazing, bro. I like the results and the solution aspect, especially the solution aspect that Dhruva Maharaj is not running that I have a desire, I have a desire. He's focusing on Krishna, Krishna. That is a beautiful point. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Okay. Should we end here? All right. Thank you all very much. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhanvat pranams, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Syamanand Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Anant Koti
Hare
Vaishnava.
Krishna.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Prabhu. It was
Prabhuji.
a
Hare
very nice
Krishna.
class. Very nice class and very nice discussion at the end also. Thank you so much.
Dhanvat pranams, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.